Hi, good evening. This is breaking news. I wasn't even sure if I was going to do another podcast, but breaking news. The Bell Hotel in Epping, a migrant there who was on trial for sex attacks against young girls as young as 14, and indeed a woman, today has been found guilty. I said it weeks ago. I'm saying it again now. Keir Starmer and the rest of the idiots in power, they should be in the dock. They are playing Russian roulette with our children, with our daughters, our sisters, our mums. All of these people should be in secure detention centres behind barbed wire, looked after, put up in army tents, and then we can assess whether they can stay or not. Putting them in hotels is ridiculous. And today, another big figure's come out. Did you know the majority who are coming in on boats aren't even in the hotels? Although there's 32,000 of them in hotels, 4 stars, with squeezy soap. No, the rest are in homes of multiple occupation, living next door to you, not living next door to Keir Starmer or these politicians or Angela Rayner in a country residence where she is today. Hold up. No, they're living next to you. I am fuming, and you should be too. So this is what we're going to talk about for the next half hour or so. Please be patient. Put your comments down at the bottom, and I'll come to them as soon as I can. But the breaking news tonight, good evening, by the way, it's the Jon Gaunt podcast. What else could it be? The breaking news from Epping, Hadush Gerberslasie Kebatu, an asylum seeker who arrived illegally in a boat in the UK and was housed at the Bell Hotel. I think he's from Eritrea or Ethiopia, but how the fuck would we know? Because the government don't even know, because these people don't have any documentation with them. He's been found guilty of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl and a woman, but more than once. He's the one you'll remember in the papers who wanted to take the 2 girls back to his room at the Bell Hotel in Epping and wanted to make what he called Jamaican babies with them. He had arrived in our great country. This is the bit that's going to sicken you. Just 8 days. He carried out these vicious, heinous attacks or attempted attacks 8 days, just 8 days after arriving at Dover. 8 days after he came, this man tried to have sex with a 14-year-old girls. Now, of course, this shocking case was the catalyst for furious protests by local mums who demanded action and answers. They were written off by the uber lefty liberals like The Guardian and the BBC as far-right protesters. It took weeks before the lamestream media called them what they were, just ordinary mums. It sparked off other protests all around the country. And, of course, we've had that attack in Nuneaton as well, the alleged attack, where they're already going through the court system as well. I said at the time, this government and previous governments were playing Russian roulette with your children, your mum, your daughter. And if they got them in houses of multiple occupation, this doesn't mean that I'm saying, for goodness sake, that every illegal migrant is a sex fiend, because they're obviously not. But The Guardian talked about this guy as if it had a terrible time. I've just seen a woman on GB News, one of their liberals they put up, and she was saying, well, they've come all this way and blah, blah, blah. She still had sympathy. That's what it sounded like to me. They've been playing Russian, I'm going to keep using this term, Russian roulette with your kids and your wives and your daughters and your mums. And it's just despicable. I'm so choked up about it. I just think it's incredible. And of course, he said, oh, no, I haven't done it. Oh, no, that sickens me, blah, blah, blah. We're now allowed to see the the body cams of the coppers when they arrested him. So let me just tell you, I say they've been playing Russian roulette. I'm saying they've been playing loose and fast with our kids and our women. And I'm now saying that today's guilty verdict kind of proves my point, doesn't it? If you've got a comment to make, please put it at the bottom of the screen as soon as you can. I'm coming to you with and asking you for your comments. Right, so that's that. So they're playing with our kids, and it's absolutely incredible. He's going to be sentenced on the September the 23rd, but he has been found guilty, so there's no problem. But of course now, to talk about it, pressure is now mounting for immediate deportation and for serious questions to be answered about how this was allowed to happen. So stay with me as we go over the court verdict, we go over the parents' protests, and what's going to be the political fallout from this. Forget about Angela Rayner. This is much more important. The rape and sexual assault of UK citizens. It's rocked the community. We've already had the rape gangs, and that wasn't dealt with severely and quickly enough. But now it seems we've got this problem as well. And the government say, and then that's the worst bit, Keir Starmer uses your money to defeat the court case that would stop the use of these hotels. But we've got to stop the use of HMOs. We've also got to stop the people coming in. So again, Navy in the Channel, Army on the beach, secure centres where we put these people, old army camps, airfields, in tents, look after them, be fair to them, but they're not allowed out. It is completely ridiculous. So again, just a quick summary, breaking tonight. The Bell Hotel scandal has exploded. An illegal asylum seeker, an illegal migrant, a criminal who broke into our country, arrived here illegally by small boat, and evidently he paid $2,000 to get here. He's been found guilty of shocking, and I'm going to detail them in a moment, sex attacks in Epping. Just days after landing in the UK, 8 days after coming, he starts trying to sexually assault English, British girls. The parents who were protesting, who were tarred with the brush of being far right and were seen as just plebs by a lot of the mainstream press, including the BBC and particularly papers like The Guardian, they've now been vindicated. I've got the full story, the fallout, and what happens next, live here on the Jon Gaunt Show. So stay listening, and start giving me your ideas, please. I need them now. I need you to tell me what you think about this. I think we've been betrayed by the ruling class, the establishment class, not just Starmer, but all the people before. But the question also is, will this now focus their minds? I doubt it. And that's the depressing thing. Let's just go through what this Eritrean or this Ethiopian did, right? Let's talk about what he's done. He's been found guilty of sexually assaulting a girl of 14. He tried to kiss her after a vile attack. Here we go. Hold on. Hadush Kebatu, 41, put his hand on the teen's thigh. He tried to kiss her, and he told her he wanted to marry her while she was in her school uniform. The Ethiopian migrant, who previously worked as a teacher, or so he says, carried out the attack just 8 days after arriving in the United Kingdom on a small boat. Kebatu was living, as I've said earlier, at the controversial Bell Hotel in Epping. And of course, that's been at the centre of this chaos and the protests and the landmark court battle where the British government, Starmer and useless Yvette Cooper used your money to pay and to come up to the conclusion that the rights and needs of illegal migrants, criminals, trump yours. And so that's why it's still open at this moment. It should be closed immediately. This sex attack sparked mass anti-immigration protests across the country, with a lot of us demanding that asylum hotels be emptied. Kebatu can't even speak bloody English. Today we paid for Tigrinya. No, I don't know either. But interpreted in court, it's evidently the language that is spoken in Eritrea and in parts of Ethiopia. He's now been found guilty of 5 charges, including sexually assaulting the 14-year-old girl and inciting her to engage in sexual activity. He was also convicted of attempting to sexually assault the teen, harassment without violence as well, and sexually assaulting a woman who had stepped in to help the girls. Finding this fiend, this monster guilty today, District Judge Christopher Williams said, "I'm not persuaded that there is any evidence to suggest the children fabricated any of the evidence they gave." Because that's what he said. He said, "Oh, they're making it up." That's what this animal said. Chelmsford Magistrates Courts were told the girl was friends. The girl was told the girl was friends with friends on a bench eating pizza when they were approached by the defendant, who appeared hungry. The prosecutor, Stuart Cowan, said they offered him some pizza, which he accepted. He sat down next to the alleged victim on the bench, and it said that without any encouragement, he began to make inappropriate comments to her and her girlfriend. It's the Crown's case that he said he wanted to have a baby with each of these young girls, and he attempted to kiss them. He invited them back to the Bell Hotel where he was living, having just arrived in the UK 8 days earlier. The girl made clear she was only 14 as she rejected his advances. But Kebatu told her and her mates, "You can come back to the hotel with me. We can make lovely babies and have sex." He also made a string of other creepy comments, including telling the teen, "Come back to Africa. You would be a good wife." The victim, the 14-year-old, she's bloody brave, isn't she? She told the court that she kept telling him how old she was, but it wasn't getting into his head. She added, he told us as well that in his country, it's normal to marry a 14-year-old. Well, fuck off back to your own country then. We don't do that here. We're civilized. One youngster who witnessed the sexual assault said the migrant boasted he had paid about €2,500 to get on a rubber dinghy to come to our country. The next day, July the 8th, that's the 9th day he's been in the country, he made a similar approach, but this time the victim was wearing her school uniform. A female member of the public intervened, and Kebatu also sexually assaulted her by trying to kiss her, putting his hand on her leg and telling her she was pretty. Footage released by the police show the moment the fiend was arrested, canned and handcuffed. During his evidence, he denied trying to kiss the girl and claimed, "I'm not a wild animal. I don't do these kind of things. These are children, new generation." Kebatu said the woman who also accused him of sexual assault, the older lady, said, "You are handsome. I want you to come to my home." Just a pack of lies. But who else should be in that dock? I say Starmer. Excuse me a minute. The dog's playing me up. Go on, out you go. I say Starmer should be. I say Yvette Cooper should be. I say it's their policies that have let this door open. Rebecca Mundy, who's Deputy Chief Crown Prosecutor with the CPS for East of England, said, and I quote, "This was an incident which became a cause of deep concern for the local community. Our prosecutors worked carefully and impartially to bring this case to justice according to the law. Close and effective collaboration between Essex Police and out-of-hours prosecution teams ensured Kebatu was promptly arrested, charged and remanded." Yes, but he'd still done it. And of course, here's the vital question. How many more of these kinds of incidents are happening and going unreported? Or the mainstream media don't want to touch it because, remember, they're always scared that it might kick off, that the far right, the imaginary far right, might kick off. Well, if I was a parent down there, I reckon I'd probably be angry. I might kick off if it was one of my daughters assaulted in this way. I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying this is just terrible. Niven Casey and Paul both making a comment about Angela Rayner. Not now. I might come to them at the end of the show, but I want to focus just on this. I say this should happen. When he gets sentenced by the judge and he's going to jail, the judge has already said that, but it probably won't be for long enough as far as I'm concerned. He can go to jail for a week, 2 weeks, and then we should deport the bastard. Who's with me? We now need deportation. We also need to close our borders. We need a state of emergency declared. Starmer, do something. How many more girls do you want to get assaulted? Because the case in Nuneaton, if that's proven to be true, is much worse than this one. It's actual rape. What are you doing? What are you doing? And then there's still liberals on the telly. I saw one tonight. There's still the Guardian talking about him as if he's the flipping victim. He's a sex fiend. He's a monster. You know what I'd do if I had the opportunity, but you can't say that because then you'll get locked up for hurty words. Okay, I'm done. 16 likes. That's brilliant. Not enough people listening. Tell all your friends to tune in now. Let's get started. Paul says, there's a big protest in Epping at the moment. We need you there, Gaunty. Yeah, well, I bet there's a big protest. There's going to be hell to pay about this because those women, those mums, those mothers were right. And they were tarred as far-right extremists for standing up for their girls. What a world we're living in. And the bloody hotel's still full. 138 of them in there. Like I say, not all of them, nowhere near all of them will be sexual offenders. But we don't know. And I keep going back to my thing. Let's get to the dinghy, Keir Starmer. Tell me, out of those 80 fellas there, the name of one of them. He won't know. Tell me where they're from. Tell me if they've got a criminal record. He won't know. Which is why we've got to secure the borders, not allow anybody else in. And if they do get in, or the ones we've already got, let's make the conditions a bit harsher so they can send videos back on their mobile phones and they can tell other people not to come to England because England is no longer a bloody soft touch. Right, here we go. Faith Bowman. The whole bloody lot of them need to be sent back across the channel and they can find their own way home. Well, that's the thing. They've come through so many countries, haven't they, to get here. When you're coming down, says Paul, it's a bit difficult, Paul. I'm in Oxford at the moment. Paul Farrell's just reposted the stream. Thank you for that. Send our guilty politicians to a Muslim, I think you mean Muslim, a Muslim country. I don't know what that would achieve. Get them out. Let's have another election. Well, we definitely, I don't know if you've listened to my other podcast I made today. I made one about Nigel Farage. He now reckons he'll be the next prime minister. He will. I say, can we get on with it? Can we have an election now? Because like Angela Rayner, she's as guilty as hell, isn't she? There's no way that she's innocent. Did you see that stupid Rachel Reeves trying to defend her but kept looking at the floor? But let's stay on the main point tonight. He needs to be deported immediately on Facebook, says Deborah Beckham. Deborah, you're as angry as me, I can see. It's just incredible. I'd kick off and there would be death, says William Morland. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but it isn't going to help, is it? Rioting tonight won't help. What helps now is to say to Starmer, enough is enough. A state of emergency must be declared. We must stop any more coming. End of. Army on the beach, Navy in the channel, and we then put the ones we've got already, all of them, this weekend, into secure camps. Not jails, secure camps. But they can't come out during the day and walk through Nuneaton town centre. They can't walk into beautiful Warwick from the hotel they're staying there on the outskirts of the town. It's ironic because where the hotel is, it used to be a mental asylum called Hatton years ago. But it feels like the lunatics have taken over the asylum policy in our country. And when you have a Home Secretary employing lawyers to win a case based on the idea that because of the ECHR, which we should get out of immediately now, that they come first, their rights come above ours, I just can't understand why this country hasn't exploded. I'm not saying we should. Crag, I hope, John, he gets deported. Yeah, but you see, just him. See, that's the other thing you've got to be careful of with the government. They deport him, make a big hoo-ha, but there's all these others. Like today, there was a really alarming report on GB News saying how many of these people, because, you know, these fighting-age young men, but loads of them getting in as unaccompanied kids, pretending they're kids. It's a massive percentage. How's it happening? And then Martin Daubney was saying, well, we need to bring in compulsory DNA testing because you can find out how old somebody is. But the Liberals don't want that. The Human Rights Brigade thinks that's an affront to decency. No, an affront to decency is a bloke who just arrived 8 days ago illegally into our country, who then thinks he can try and make babies, Jamaican babies, with young underage English girls. June Priest Cooper, deport now. Who do you want to deport, June? I want to deport Starmer myself. They was bragging on the boats what they was coming for. A good woman. Is that true? I've not heard that story. I could believe it, though. Stelios, deport, says Steve Palmer. Right, got some spaces now. It's really busy then at the beginning. 167 watching live on YouTube. Thank you for that. Yeah. If you're listening on a podcast and you want to come back and watch a live show, don't forget it's Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube. Dead easy to find. Subscribe, and like today where I've done extra ones, then you won't miss any. I did a cracking one about Nigel Farage this morning becoming Prime Minister, and I did something else as well. Can't remember, but they're all there. Check them out. Hope you enjoy them. And if you want to help me financially, please donate. You just click that little dollar sign at the bottom of the video and donate as much as you can, right? Don't be silly, though. Only what you can afford. Likewise, you can go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt and buy me a coffee or a beer. That starts at £5. I must say thank you to Steve, Essex Steve. He bought me 3 this morning, very early this morning as well. So thank you very much indeed for that. This podcast is really motoring now. I feel like I've got my mojo back. I can, I saw this story and I thought, well, shall I leave it to the morning? And I thought, no, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it now and get an immediate reaction. So that's what we're talking about. Your immediate reaction to this terrible story about an Ethiopian illegal migrant living at the Bell Hotel. He was accused and now been found guilty of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. That's what sparked they weren't really riots, were they? There were demos, then there were some riots. But those riots were when the Antifa mob came in, who, of course, were protected by the police, not the women. And the women are not far right. They're just normal women trying to protect their girls. So he is guilty. There's no two ways about it. Just 8 days after arriving illegally by a small boat, the Epping parents' protests now are totally vindicated. He gets sentenced on September the 23rd, but I say he needs to be deported. Do you agree with me? And of course, the parents have all said, just like I've said, this is a disaster waiting to happen. And today, the court, magistrates' court, proved them right. But it's going to get worse because there's Nuneaton, a shocking case in Nuneaton, right? And I told you what the allegation, I'm not going to repeat it in case there are children listening, but the allegation there, if that person or 2 people, and they were living in separate houses of multiple occupation, because none of them are in hotels in Nuneaton, then that's a problem, a real problem. And you better be prepared for it, Starmer, because people aren't going to take this. Don't play Russian roulette with English girls. It just proves, like I say, this verdict, what Epping parents have been saying for weeks. This was a disaster waiting to happen. An absolute disaster, a tragedy. It's just so wrong. It's unbelievable. I can't quite get my head around it. Steve Palmer, keep going, John. More and more people are finally seeing through their lives, and he's just donated a £5, $4.99. Thank you very much indeed. He's done that by just clicking on that icon of the dollar sign at the bottom of the video. But don't forget, you can also do it by going to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. What do we do? What are we going to do? Let's go to Graham Hatton and see what he says. on Facebook, what on earth has happened to this country, he says. It seems to be on a daily basis now that we hear these despicable tales. Well, it's also because the mainstream media hasn't got the same power it used to have, Graham, to cover stuff up. And yet, because don't forget that when we go to the grooming gangs, the rape gangs, don't forget people were told not to report that. And so they didn't because they were scared of community tensions, not worried about the fact that young girls as young as 12 and 13 were being raped. And that's why we need full disclosure. But that's where the alternative, the new media, is making the mainstream media accountable, if you follow what I'm saying. Anyway, and yet, so we hear these despicable tales, back to what Graham was saying. And yet, there are those who steadfastly defend them. Yep, it's true, The Guardian. It sickens me to listen to those hand-wringers, apologists, and bleeding hearts on serious, well, not really serious, various news programs trying to defend them. Oh, yeah, you watch Newsnight tonight or Channel 4 News. It'll be wall-to-wall. Pedos are us. How on earth can these people keep a straight face while defending these people on British television? The mind boggles, John. It certainly does. Thank you very much indeed for your comments. Craig says, John, I totally agree with you about that. Well, about all of it. It's just, I'm almost now out of words. Being a father myself, I just can't see. Well, see, Starmer's a dad as well. How can he see that in any way he's helped? And by saying the rights of the migrants, the immigrants, trump our rights because of the ECHR, how does he sleep at night? How does he sleep at night? Illegal immigration is convicted, ROR, a crime. Get to the front of the deport queue. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But he won't get deported. I bet he gets less than a year. We'll find out. Because, well, I don't want to diminish what he did. I was going to say he didn't rape them, but only by the grace of God did that happen. Yes, deport, 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 says Linda Trigg. Faith Bowman, Starmer needs to go now, along with his cabal of useless idiots. Yeah, just when I thought things couldn't get worse for him, especially after that nonsense, absolute nonsense with Rayner. She's as guilty as hell. I'll just take that comments now. Chavy Rayner needs to go, says Paul. That was right at the beginning of the program. And Niven Casey says, hi, John, slightly off topic. But did you see that Angela Rayner's solicitors have said they gave her no tax or trust advice and are probably being made scapegoats for all this? Did they say all that? It was that you putting the last bit on. I haven't seen that, Niven, but if you don't mind, we'll come back to that tomorrow because she ain't going anywhere apart from the Dole office. She isn't going anywhere. So there'll be plenty of time to discuss her. But the problem here is we've got a government who just aren't in control. Look at the economy. Terrible situation. Look at Angela Rayner, thought it was okay to fiddle her stamp duty, her council tax as well. I mean, I don't like the bit that she's used her lad's money, but that's their family, nothing to do with me, I suppose. What's going on? Right from the first moment when Starmer got elected, he started taking the freebies, didn't he? The Taylor Swift tickets, the suits, the glasses. What suits you, sir? Yeah? And it's got worse and worse as the years gone on. I can't point to anything that he's done. Oh, I said at lunchtime when I did the one about Farage, he's given free breakfasts to people, to kids. Would it not be better to sort out our estates and sort out jobs for these people and get these people to look after their own kids? I don't know. I just don't know anymore. Thank you for your donations. If you're making them on the coffee, that's great. www.buymeacoffee.com. If you want to get mentioned on here now, just click the little $sign. Maggie Young, my friend from Gorleston near Great Yarmouth, is staying with me at the moment. She is devastated with all the great hotels who are full of asylum seekers in Great Yarmouth. Most residents will not go on the beach anymore. I can understand that, and then they'll get accused, won't they, Maggie, of being racist. Did you see Bournemouth Beach? full of people all dressed in the full, what do you call it? Hijab and veils and stuff. It just don't feel right to me. And you're right about the big hotels. I mean, we know seaside resorts have been on the decline for a long time. But what are we going to do? I mean, because you could go to any big old traditional seaside towns, and that's what it's like. Blackpool, Morecambe, Great Yarmouth, like you say. I got a mate who lives in, what's it called? Weston-super-Mare. He says it's getting the same there as well. The answer, it's not fair on the people who are coming in, whether they're coming in legally or illegally, to put them in that kind of accommodation. We've got to stop them coming. We simply can't take all of these people. What's so hard to understand about that, Starmer? Why are you such a wimp? Why have you got no backbone? See, you proved again with Angela Rayner, you got no backbone, because otherwise you'd have sacked her. Because any person with half a brain, right? I was discussing this with somebody in the local cafe here in the village. They know her story doesn't stack up. I'm talking about Angela Rayner, doesn't stack up. So just bang, do it there. Do it then. Look decisive. Look like a fella. Look like a leader. But you can't, can you? But then you put on your posh suit that was supplied by another man and your glasses, and you go around Europe thinking you're the equivalent of Donald Trump. Donald Trump has sorted out illegal immigration. It's down by 95%. How's he done it? He's got a backbone. He's got a backbone. And I don't know about you. Again, please listen to the one I did earlier about Farage saying he's going to be the next prime minister. I think he is. That picture of him and Trump in the Oval Office yesterday, I think they had it taken. Just, that's what you want. Somebody who actually likes the trappings of power, etc., and then will use that power for the betterment of all of us. What's wrong with that? That's why Reform are going to form the next government. And when it comes now to deportation, you see, this bloke here, I mean, I don't know. It's only just broken. So let's be fair to Starmer. If Starmer doesn't make a comment about this in the next 24, 48 hours, he ain't a leader. He's got to now come out and say, enough is enough. You know, like I said about Southport, when he went up to Southport and he ran away because they all called him a wanker or whatever with his little wreath, he should have gone to those women and said, I'm your prime minister. What has happened has been terrible. We don't need to be rioting, though. Let me tell you, he's not an illegal migrant. We know who he is. And leave it to me. It'll never happen again. What did he do instead? He turned on his heels, probably Cuban heels, and ran to his car. Well, walked very quickly to his car. And then the armoured Range Rover drove off as if it was in an episode of The Sweeney. There's an old one for you. I do like using my older cultural references. And then, about, was it 2 or 3 days later, he basically said everybody who was rioting or protesting was a far-right thug. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what's happening in this country. And I don't think people are asking for too much to say, just get a grip, mate. Can you just defend our borders? You know, before you send our boys off to Ukraine to die and to defend their borders and defend their country, could you just defend ours first? Sakia. That's not too much to ask, is it? But no. Or even defend our culture, defend our traditions, defend. Oh, he does. Oh no, he's got the flag. He's got a flag of St. George somewhere in his flat in Downing Street. Oh, I believe him. I believed him. He's our leader. Of course I believe him. And I believe Yvette Cooper. I bet Yvette Cooper has got loads of them. Loads of flags. I believed her when she said she had a Union Jack, as she called it, tablecloth. Can't wait to go around there with Ed Balls, have a nice chat, eat a vol au vent with him. Or if he's trying to prove his English, a pork pie. These people are cretins, aren't they? Because they kind of think we believe them. And all they're doing is letting us down. Anyway, I'm getting depressed. I'm going to stop now. Thank you very much indeed for watching. If you have donated some money, great. If you could do some, that would be really good for me. www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. And if you want to comment, you can always comment on YouTube. I tell you, that's really taken off on my YouTube channel. There's a bit where you can just comment on any of the videos. It takes me about an hour every day now to read them all. And I do read them all and answer. Some of them are just one-word answers. Others are getting involved in a discussion. Not a massive discussion because I want to leave that for the programs. But if you check out Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube and subscribe, it's free. You get access to all that. And that's what you should do. And then you get access to all the archive and the rest of it. Can you see what's behind me there? Not the air fryer. Next to it, it's a bottle of Italian red wine. And I'm telling you, I'll be having a large one tonight. I'll speak to you, mate. Well, undoubtedly I'll be doing one tomorrow. Not probably at this time, but during the day. Because I don't normally do one on Friday, but Britain is burning. If you do go on the protests, don't fall into the trap. Don't get violent. I think when the women all sat down, it was the most powerful thing they did. Thank you, Maggie Young. She's given me a load of claps. And get your friend to sign up to subscribe as well to YouTube so she can take back the message. Gaunt is here to save Britain and Great Yarmouth. Last time I went to Great Yarmouth, it was closed. That's what it felt like. It was a winter's day. Quite like Yarmouth. Yeah. See, but then I'm a bit like that. I like Skeggy. Skeggy's full of them as well, isn't it? Anyway, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug, hold them tight, and don't forget to keep telling them you love them. And if you get to talk to a politician, just remember these 3 words: deport, deport, deport. Good night.